The air in Ban Vinai was thick with the scent of dust and cooking fires. But inside that one small shelter, the atmosphere was heavy with something much darker. A man is swinging his fists, his face contorted with a rage that seems almost possessed.
It's 1985, and this isn't just a simple family argument, Ariel. This is the breaking point of a family's spirit. The older brother is beating his younger sibling with a ferocity that leaves everyone watching paralyzed.
And the sound, Emery, the narrator says the younger brother's cries didn't even sound like a young man anymore. They sounded like the wails of an old man. That's a chilling detail. How does a person even reach that point of despair?
It's the sound of a spirit breaking, Nico. And the reason for this violence is just as tragic. A bird, brought home by that very younger brother, had pecked out the eye of the older brother's baby.
One side of the baby's eye gone, just like that. In a refugee camp where medical resources are scarce, that kind of injury is a permanent, life-altering catastrophe.
But wait, we have to back up. This didn't just start with a bird, right? There's a stolen coin involved. A Yahshao Buddha coin that the older brother took from the narrator.
Exactly. The narrator, who identifies as Yahshao, the Hmong king, believes this isn't just bad luck. He sees it as a direct consequence, a karmic debt for stealing that sacred coin.
The cause and effect, as he calls it. It's a heavy concept to wrap your head around. The idea that a father's theft could result in his own child losing an eye. It's almost biblical in its severity.
I struggle with that, honestly. It feels so cruel. Why should the baby suffer for the father's greed? If the older brother stole the coin, shouldn't the energy hit him directly instead of an innocent child?
That's the exact question the narrator grapples with. He watches the beating. He sees the younger brother nearly dying from the punishment, and he feels this immense weight of guilt.
He literally talks to his heart, Nico. He prays to Father Abraxas, wondering if he should have ever shown the coin to the brother in the first place. He feels responsible for the chain reaction.
It's interesting he mentions Abraxas. That's a name with deep Gnostic and mystical roots. It suggests the narrator sees himself in a very specific, almost divine role within this community.
He does. He speaks as Yahshao, the son of Abraxas. In his eyes, he's not just a witness. He's the king of the Hmong people, observing the spiritual laws of his kingdom play out in the mud of a refugee camp.
And because he feels this guilt, he seeks a way to balance the scales. He doesn't want to see his family, his people, suffering like this. He wants to bring some form of happiness back to the household.
So a month goes by, the dust settles, but the wounds are still fresh. Then he has a dream. Two men dressed in white appear to him. That's a classic sign of a spiritual visitation, isn't it, Emery?
Very much so. In many cultures, especially within Hmong spiritual traditions, dreams are a primary way for ancestors or divine entities to communicate. These men in white tell him, "Your father hears you."
And they give him a number, 743. It's not a cryptic message or a riddle. It's a lottery number, a very practical solution for a family that has lost everything.
Wait, so the divine intervention here is a gambling tip? That feels a bit, I don't know, worldly? You'd expect a sermon on forgiveness, but instead, they give him the winning numbers.
Well, think about the context of Ban Vinai in 1985. People are living in extreme poverty. Money isn't just greed there. It's survival. It's the ability to buy food that isn't just basic rations.
Exactly, Ariel. The narrator knows the brother loves the lottery. It's a source of hope for him. By giving him that number, Yahshao is offering a way out of the darkness that has swallowed the house.
So he writes it down for him. He doesn't play it himself. He gives the gift away. That's a powerful move for someone who calls himself a king. He's providing for his subjects in a way.
And it works. The brother wins. The next time the narrator sees him, the brother is transformed. He takes Yahshao to the street market and tells him to pick whatever he wants to eat.
They buy chicken sticks, sticky rice, and watermelon. It sounds like a feast. But look at where they go to eat it. The cemetery. Sections 02 and 09.
That is such a strange, haunting choice. Why eat a celebratory meal in the place where the dead are buried? Is it out of respect, or is there something else going on there?
In many refugee settings, the cemetery is actually one of the few quiet, open spaces. But I think for Yahshao, it's deeper. He's eating with the brother, but he's also aware of the spirits surrounding them.
He notes that while they eat, he can feel his own energy is clear and powerful, while the brother's energy has lowered. Even with the lottery win, the brother is diminished.
The brother knows, doesn't he? He might not say it, but he feels that Yahshao is the source of this luck. The narrator says the brother has super respect for him as the king.
It's a complete reversal of power. At the start, the older brother was the household head, the one with the fists. Now, he's buying chicken sticks for a child who holds the keys to the spiritual world.
But the narrator doesn't take his money. He didn't ask for a cut of the winnings. He just wanted the family to be happy. He's observing the human condition from a distance, even while participating in it.
This whole story feels like it's floating between two worlds. One world is the harsh reality of the camp, the mud, the violence, the lottery. The other is this realm of coins, kings, and divine numbers.
And then he mentions the pond. Pa-bur. It seems like a random detail, but it fits into this theme of sudden, inexplicable tragedy that defines life in Ban Vinai.
A man having a seizure and drowning in a shallow pond. It's a reminder that life is fragile. Whether it's a bird's beak or a sudden medical emergency, death is always lurking just around the corner.
It makes the cause and effect theory even more central. If life is that random and dangerous, you have to find a reason for it. You have to believe there's a logic behind the suffering.
The narrator is essentially telling the blinded child years later, "Don't hate your uncle. This wasn't just a man being cruel. This was the universe balancing itself because of your father's actions."
That's a very difficult form of forgiveness to ask for, to tell a child that their blindness is the cost of a stolen coin. It places a massive spiritual burden on the family history.
But maybe it's the only way to stop the cycle of violence. If the child blames the uncle, the feud continues. If the child accepts it as fate or karma, maybe the anger can finally dissolve.
It's a story about the secrets we keep, too. He says the wife, the mother, the sister. They never knew about the coin. They only saw the bird, the eye, and the beating.
They saw the effect, but they never saw the cause. Only Yahshao saw the whole picture. He's the keeper of the family's true history, the one who knows why the tragedy really happened.
It's a heavy burden for a kid to carry, even one with clear and powerful energy. To be the only one who knows that the family's luck and their greatest tragedy both came from the same spiritual source.
Let's talk about that setting for a moment. Ban Vinai in 1985. It was one of the largest Hmong refugee camps in Thailand. Thousands of people packed into a small area, waiting for a future that seemed uncertain.
The camp was a pressure cooker, Ariel. You have families who lost their homes, their land, and their status in Laos. When you put that much trauma into a confined space, the social structures start to warp.
That explains why the household head authority was so absolute. When you've lost everything else, your position in the family is the only thing you have left to control.
And that control turned into something monstrous in this story. The older brother wasn't just punishing the younger one for the bird. He was venting all the frustration of their shared displacement.
And then there's the coin itself. Emery, what's the significance of a Yahshao Buddha coin in this context? Is it a common artifact or something unique to this narrator's identity?
It sounds like a personal talisman, Nico, but the name Yahshao is the key. It's a variant of names associated with messianic figures. By calling it a Yahshao coin, he's linking his own identity to a sacred object.
So when the brother steals the coin, he's not just stealing money. He's stealing the narrator's divine authority. He's trying to take the luck or the spirit of the king for himself.
But you can't steal spirit. You can only invite the consequences of trying. That's why the narrator feels that the bird attack was the universe's way of reclaiming what was taken.
It's such a vivid, terrifying image. A bird in a house. Usually that's a sign of nature or maybe a pet, but here it becomes a weapon of fate.
And the narrator is just standing there, watching. He says, "I was there, watching everything." There's a sense of helplessness, but also a sense of observation, like a chronicler of his people's suffering.
He mentions the energy in the family was so heavy, he could feel the sadness and the love at the same time. That's the paradox of family, isn't it? You can love someone and still be the source of their greatest pain.
I keep going back to those two men in white. Why do they appear only after a month? Why wait for the younger brother to almost die and the family to simmer in that heavy energy for 30 days?
Maybe the debt had to be felt. Maybe the lesson of the coin wouldn't have landed if the resolution came too quickly. It's a harsh way to look at it, but stories of fate rarely follow a kind timeline.
There's also the element of testing the narrator. He had to talk to his heart and pray to Abraxas. He had to reach a point of genuine compassion before the Father provided the solution.
And the solution is 7 and 43. It's so specific. I wonder if that number has any deeper meaning, or if it was just the key to the lock that was holding this family in poverty.
In many Southeast Asian cultures, lottery numbers are often sought through dreams, spirits, or even the patterns on a tree's bark. It's a way of asking the unseen world for a favor.
And for the brother, winning that money was his redemption in the eyes of the family. He could finally provide. He could buy the chicken sticks, the sticky rice, the watermelon. He could be the big brother again instead of the thief or the abuser.
But he buys it for Yahshao. He's essentially paying tribute to the king. He's acknowledging that his wealth came from a source he doesn't fully understand, but deeply respects.
It's a quiet moment of peace in a very loud, violent story. Two people eating watermelon in a cemetery, surrounded by the dead, while the living world outside continues to struggle.
The cemetery setting also highlights the narrator's connection to the spiritual realm. He feels more at home among the sections 02 and 09 than he does in the crowded, angry shelter of his family.
And then there's that final message. Son, your eye blind is not your father brother did to you. Forgive your uncle. He's speaking to the next generation, trying to heal a wound that's decades old.
He's trying to rewrite the narrative. Instead of a story of a cruel uncle and a tragic accident, he's making it a story of cosmic justice and eventual forgiveness.
It's a way of reclaiming power over the trauma. If it was cause and effect, then it wasn't just random cruelty. There's a logic to it, and if there's a logic, there can be a resolution.
But what about the coin? Does he ever get it back? Or does the lottery win serve as the final exchange for the stolen object?
The story doesn't say. But, in a way, the coin has already done its work. It revealed the character of the brother. It brought about the cost, and it eventually led to the divine intervention.
The coin was the catalyst for a spiritual evolution. Yahshao went from being a kid with a shiny object to a king who provides for his people and understands the deep currents of fate.
It's a lot to process, the violence, the bird, the lottery, the cemetery. It feels like a myth unfolding in real time, in a place that the rest of the world had largely forgotten.
Ban Vinai might be gone now. The camp was closed years ago. But these stories remain. They're the unspoken history that Yahshao is finally telling.
And it's important that he identifies as the Hmong king. It's a statement of dignity. In a place where they were treated as refugees, as less than, he maintained a sense of royal spiritual identity.
It's a form of resistance, isn't it? To call yourself a king when you're eating chicken sticks in a cemetery. You're refusing to let your circumstances define your soul.
That energy he describes, the clear and powerful energy, that's the real treasure. Not the coin, and not even the lottery money. It's the clarity of knowing who you are in the midst of chaos.
I think about the man in the pond, Pa Bear. The narrator includes him as a reminder that not everyone gets a divine dream or a winning number. Some people just drown in the mud.
It adds a layer of survivor's guilt to the story. Why did Yahshao's family get the lottery number while the man in the pond got a seizure? It's the mystery of grace, I suppose.
Or maybe it's back to that Father Abraxas connection. The narrator believes he has a direct line to the source, and that line is what protected him and allowed him to help his family.
It's a very solitary position to be the king of a people who don't even know they have a king, to be the one who sees the cause and effect while everyone else just sees the pain.
He's a bridge between the worlds. He's the one who can translate the heavy energy of a beating into the clear energy of a winning number. That's a powerful role for anyone, let alone a child in a camp.
The way he ends the story is so striking. Remember, I am Yahshao your king, the son of Abraxas, Amen. It's a signature, but it's also a command. He's telling us to remember the spiritual reality behind the physical one.
It's a call to look deeper at our own lives. What are the coins we've stolen? What are the birds that have brought us grief? And where is the cause and effect playing out in our own stories?
It makes you wonder if every tragedy has a hidden origin story like this one. If we could only see the energy like Yahshao does, would we be more willing to forgive?
Forgiveness is the hardest part, though. Telling that child to forgive the uncle who beat his father, even if the father was a thief, that's a lot to ask of a human heart.
But maybe that's why he speaks as a king. A king doesn't just rule, he provides the moral framework for his people. He's offering the child a way to be free from the bitterness of the past.
It's a gift of peace, just like the lottery number was a gift of survival. He's trying to give the family a future that isn't poisoned by the events of 1985.
Think about the brother for a second. After he wins, his energy is lower than Yahshao's. He has the money, but he's lost his standing. He's become a follower of the child he once ignored.
That's the real cause and effect. The theft didn't just cost the baby an eye, it cost the father his pride. He had to be saved by the very person he wronged.
And the fact that they ate at the cemetery, it's like they were burying the old version of their family. They were leaving the anger and the theft in the ground with the dead of sections 02 and 09.
It's such a cinematic image. The red of the watermelon, the white of the sticky rice, the gray of the cemetery dust. It's a moment of absolute clarity in a very messy world.
The narrator's voice is so distinct. It's simple, but it carries this immense weight of authority. He's not asking us to believe him, he's telling us how it is.
I'm still thinking about that bird. It's such a random agent of fate. It wasn't a person, it wasn't an army, it was just a bird. It shows how the smallest things can trigger the biggest changes.
In a place like Ban Vinai, you were already living on the edge. A bird, a seizure, a stolen coin, any one of those things could push you over. The narrator is the one who tries to pull his family back from that edge.
And he does it through a dream. It's a reminder that even in the most desperate places, the human mind, or the human spirit finds a way to seek out hope.
Even if that hope comes in the form of a lottery number, it's a very refugee camp kind of miracle. It's practical, it's immediate, and it changes everything overnight.
But the scars remain. The baby's eye is still blind. The younger brother still felt those kicks. The lottery doesn't erase the pain. It just provides a way to live with it.
That's the core of the story, isn't it? The cost has been paid. Now, the question is what you do with the life you have left. Do you hold on to the grudge, or do you eat your watermelon and move forward?
Yahshao chooses to move forward. He chooses to see himself as a king instead of a victim, and he tries to lead his family toward that same kind of clarity.
It's a powerful testament to the resilience of the Hmong people in those camps. They created their own meanings, their own kings and their own justice, when the rest of the world wasn't looking.
And they kept their secrets. Like the narrator says, the women in the family never knew. This was a silent war of spirits and coins played out in the shadows of the household.
It makes you wonder what other stories are hidden in the histories of those camps. How many other kings were there walking through the mud of Ban Vinai?
Probably more than we'll ever know. But Yahshao decided to tell his. He decided that the son with the blind eye needed to know the truth, even if the truth is hard to hear.
The truth is that we are all connected by these invisible threads of energy. Our actions have consequences that we might not see for years, or that might hit the people we love the most.
It's a warning as much as it is a story. Be careful what you take and be careful what you show. The universe is always watching, even in Section 04 by the pond.
And yet there's a sense of mercy in it too. Father Abraxas hears the prayer. The men in white bring the number. There is a way out, if you're willing to look for it.
The narrator's compassion is what ultimately saves the family. If he had stayed angry about the coin, he never would have shared the number. He would have kept the luck for himself.
That's the real mark of a king, I guess. The ability to give away the very thing that could make your own life easier for the sake of the people you lead.
It's a beautiful, haunting, and deeply complicated story. It's about the price of greed, the weight of fate, and the power of a single act of generosity to change a family's destiny.
And it's a reminder that even in the darkest places, like a refugee camp in 1985, there is still room for magic, for dreams, and for the clear energy of a king.
I don't think I'll ever look at a lottery number or a bird the same way again. Everything feels like it has a secret meaning now.
That's the power of Yahshao's storytelling. He invites us into his world, where every object and every event is part of a much larger, divine plan.
Whether you believe in the coins and the kings or not, you can't deny the emotional truth of the story. The pain of the beating, the joy of the win, and the quiet peace of the cemetery meal.
It's all there, the whole human experience, captured in a few pages of memory. It's a story that was never been told, but it feels like it's always been true.
As we wrap up, I keep thinking about that final line. Amen. It's a seal on the story, a way of saying, this is how it happened, and this is how it ends.
But for the child with the blind eye, the story is still going. He's the one who has to carry the legacy of the coin into the future. He's the one who has to choose forgiveness every day.
I hope he finds the peace that Yahshao found. I hope he can look at his uncle and see a man who was caught in the same web of fate, rather than just a man who was cruel.
That's the ultimate goal of any great tale, isn't it? To help us make sense of the senseless, and to find a way to forgive the unforgivable.
It's a heavy story, but there's a light in it. The light of those men in white, the light of the clear energy, and the light of a king who still cares for his people.
Even 30-some years later, the energy of Ban Vinai is still with us through these words. It's a piece of history that won't be forgotten.
Exactly. We've traveled back to 1985 today, into the heart of a mystery that changed a family forever. And we've seen that even a stolen coin can lead to a moment of grace.
It's about the balance, Nico, the cause and the effect, the cost and the payment. It's a ledger that the universe is always keeping, whether we see it or not.
I'm just glad Yahshao decided to share the ledger with us. It gives us a lot to think about as we go back to our own lives and our own stories.
So the next time you see something that feels like a random tragedy, maybe stop and wonder, is there a coin? Is there a dream? Is there a king watching over it all?
And remember, as Yahshao says, to talk to your heart. That's where the real answers are, even when the world outside is screaming.
That's a good place to leave it, I think. In the quiet of the heart, where the energy is clear and the king is waiting.
Thank you both for diving into this with me. It's been a journey through some very dark places, but I think we found the light at the end.
It was an honor, Ariel. These kinds of stories are rare, and they deserve to be heard with respect.
Definitely. It's not every day you get to talk about Hmong kings and lottery miracles in the same breath. It's been fascinating.
Until next time, then, keep your energy clear and remember the stories that have never been told. They're the ones that matter the most.
Take care of yourselves out there, and maybe keep an eye out for any birds that seem a little too interested in your business.
And maybe write down your dreams. You never know when a number like 743 might just change your life.
Wait, Nico, are you going to go buy a lottery ticket now? Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you did.
I think we all might be looking for our own men in white tonight. It's a compelling thought, isn't it?
It really is, but for now, I'll just stick to the sticky rice and watermelon. It feels like a safer way to celebrate the story.
A perfect choice. Let's head out then. The cemetery is getting quiet, and the sun is setting on Ban Vinai.
Good night, everyone, and thank you, Yahshao, wherever you are for the story.
Good night. May your energy stay powerful and your heart stay open.
Amen to that. Let's go.
Wait, before we go, I just keep thinking about that pond one more time. Pa Bear, it's such a small detail, but it feels so heavy.
It's the reminder that the king can't save everyone. Even with all the power and the dreams, some things are just meant to happen. It's the darker side of fate.
It's the reality of the camp. For every lottery win, there was a man in a pond. For every miracle, there was a tragedy. You can't have one without the other in a place like that.
That's what makes the narrator's claims so bold. He's saying, in the middle of all this randomness, I found a pattern, I found a reason, I found a way to be a king.
It's a beautiful way to organize the chaos. Even if it's just for one family, it made the world make sense for a little while.
And that's enough. That's more than most people get. To have a moment where the energy is clear and the watermelon is sweet, and you know exactly why you're there.
The memory of that meal in the cemetery, it's probably the most peaceful thing the older brother ever experienced after that coin was stolen.
I hope so. I hope he felt forgiven, even if he didn't know why he was being forgiven. Sometimes the best gifts are the ones we don't realize we're receiving.
Exactly. Like the narrator said, I didn't ask for any money, and he didn't give me any. The true exchange was spiritual, not financial.
The money was just the tool, the respect was the result, and the forgiveness was the goal.
It's a masterclass in human psychology, really. How to heal a family through a lottery ticket and a cemetery picnic.
Only a king could come up with a plan that crazy. And only a king could make it work.
Let's leave them there then. In the quiet of Section 02, under the Thai sky in 1985, the meal is finished, the sun is down, and the story is finally told.
It's a long way from Ban Vinai to here, but the message still carries. Forgive your uncle, forgive yourself, and watch out for the bird.
Well said, Nico. Well said. Let's wrap it up for real this time. It's been an incredible discussion.
Absolutely. I feel like I've been there myself, walking the streets of the camp.
Me too. It's a story that stays with you. Thanks for bringing us into it, Ariel.
My pleasure. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and keep listening to the stories that the world tries to forget.
Goodbye for now.
See you later.
The silence of the cemetery is all that's left. But the words of Yahshao, they're still echoing. Amen.